Where is that thing? Oh, geez. Hey, guys. Yeah, let's do a video on stropping. No, you don't need a leather strop. We'll just use a piece of wood. I'll show you how to do that. Let's get into it. All right, so there are so many different types of sharpening fancy tools for stropping, for polishing your blades, and it's imperative. If you're a carver and you have a knife, you need to strop your blade. It's like the best way of sharpening your tools, at least to maintain them, to prevent you from having to go to a grinder and spend all this nonsense, all this time reprofiling your blade. So if you maintain your tools consistently with a strop, you're gonna be in great shape. And again, today with just a piece of wood, we can do that. So the first thing I wanted to show you is this is a piece of 1 inch by say 1.5 inch basswood. Doesn't need to be this length. This is about 4 inches or so. But I've got my honing compound. There's a number of different types of honing compound, and typically honing compounds are determined by their grit, and their grit is determined by color. And so this is Zam, it's green. Typically green is an in-between grit of strop compound or honing compound. So it does a good amount of removal while not being too rough and leaving the tool too matte. It does a good job at polishing the blade. So to start, you're gonna wanna get your compound, you're gonna wanna get your knife, your least favorite knife, so you're not dulling it. And you're gonna wanna peel back that paper around the Zam compound. And I'll link this stuff in the description below so you can see. Yeah, and sorry about my allergies. I sound like a freaking, I don't know what I sound like, somebody with allergies. So anyway, I'm gonna rub this stuff on this piece of wood. Okay, so make sure that, you know, what I've done actually is taken this flat surface and just taken a bit of rough sandpaper and maybe 100 grit and roughed up the surface so that it grabs onto the compound a little bit more easily. So I'll rub the compound on there like so. And watch this, guys. So I'll have my skew detail knife from Flexcut, one of my favorite knives. And I'm just gonna have that blade flat against the surface of that bevel. So the cutting edge is what's gonna be flat against that piece of wood, not the back end, and not tipping it up like so. I do not want to tip the blade up because that's gonna create a rolled over bevel. It's not gonna be sharp. Anyway, flat across like so, with steady, smooth motions. And you'll notice something as I cross this piece of wood. You'll notice black stuff is coming off of there. Well, that is metal from the blade. That means this stropping compound or honing compound is doing its job. So I'll make 3 or 4 passes on that leather, or I'm sorry, on that wood block. And I'm telling you guys, you do not need any fancy leather strops. You don't need to be going on online and buying the fanciest of leather strops. If you have a block of wood that you've roughed up a little with some sandpaper, this will hold stropping compound, and you'll be able to strop your blades. So again, the big takeaway from this, I want you to understand, you do not need to hike up the edge of your blade to kind of accelerate the process. You see sometimes, I've heard of carvers talking about how, yeah, but the last few passes you can do with the blade turned upward as a micro bevel. I don't subscribe to that anymore. I'm just keeping that blade flat against the wooden strop, right? In this case, it's got 2 bevels. So this is the bevel that we're gonna be paying attention to, the shiny side. See that shiny bit there? We're gonna pay attention to this, laying this flat against the wood. On a single bevel tool like this, which is actually ideal for carving, this is actually a better style of blade for carving because it's consistent from the heel of the blade, the back of the blade, to the front cutting edge, one solid straight shot. This is a lot easier to sharpen because you're just laying that flat. That's the only thing you have to worry about is that one plane, and you're pulling that back, making sure that you're not hiking it up or tilting it back. You're just dragging it across. 4 or 5 strokes on one side, 4 or 5 strokes on the other. Okay, and you should be seeing that compound coming off, a little bit of a high point in the wood because I didn't plane this. If you have a block, you can use a block with some sandpaper to get this extra smooth because this is going to catch the high points otherwise, this blade is. But either way, you're still fine, as long as you see that stropping compound coming off or the metal coming off into the stropping compound, you're in good shape. Another fun thing you can do here, kind of a bonus tip, if you have a gouge and you want to get the inside bevel, one thing you can do is you can actually cut the edge of the block with the gouge, right? So watch this. Okay, so I'm cutting into the bevel, or with the bevel, into the wood like so. Turn the tool upside down, just like that. Then I can use my honing compound on that bevel okay, let me just set that down. And then we can take our stropping compound, or sorry, our block, and we can actually pull the blade over that form that we just created. And that's going to get the inside bevel. That's going to get the inside bevel. You can see the metal coming off there. How fun is that? So you don't need a fancy inside bevel sharpening system. You can use a buffing wheel. What I like to use for the inside bevel, if I have the tool with me, I use a bench grinder. And the bench grinder does a great job of running that buffing wheel, which is just a cotton wheel, and that I use to polish the inside edge. But other than that, guys, if you don't have these fancy tools, you don't need them. You can use a leather strop like this one. Same concept applies here. If you have a V-tool, you can also cut into a block with the V-tool at the edge. Be careful not to cut yourself, but you know, again, just cutting that bevel in gives you a nice spot to drag that tool in and get that nice inside bevel. There it is. There's our side cut, right? So look at that. Gives you the nice profile. I don't know if you can see that clearly. So there you go. There's 2 ways to strop your tools without fancy leather strops or fancy tools. Hopefully that helps. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Take your vitamins.